Yeah, I'm audible now. I was muted. Just stop. Yeah.
Recording.
How to bring it back? Am I audible now to all? Are you able to hear me?
Hare Krishna,
yeah,
Hare Krishna,
yeah.
Mataji. Yes,
All of you are able to hear me?
Yeah, yes.
yes, Mataji.
Thank you. So yesterday we started the 13th chapter, Kshetrajna Yoga. We'll be continuing the latter part of the chapter today. So before that, let us pay obeisances to Sri Sri Radha Govinda of the ISKCON temple at Nantur, Mangalore. Can we pay our respects to our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, and seek the blessings of my Shiksha Guru, Namanishta Das Prabhu. With those offerings, we'll start our day's session with a prayer. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitan Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manopishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tatati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna devotees. We stopped at the 17th shloka yesterday. Yeah. 6. We have to do the 18th one. Did we do the 18th one? I do not know. Anyway, there's no problem if we repeat it. There's no. Yeah. Jyotisham apitaj jyotihi tamasah paramuchyate jnanam jneyam jnanagamyam hrihi sarvasya vishitam vishtitam. So here it is said the Supreme Lord is a source of light in all luminous objects. Actually, in the Goloka Vrindavana, there is no need of electricity, no need of sun, moon, nothing is required there. The effulgence of the Lord is so bright, so radiant, so vibrant that the whole Goloka Vrindavana is lit. There is no need for any external illumination required there. So the Supreme Lord is compared to the sun. The way the sun radiates all his bright radiations all over the universe, lights the whole universe, making things seeable, understandable, enjoyable. The same way, the Supreme Lord is a source of illumination, actually like the sun, moon, and the stars. In the spiritual kingdom, there is no need of sun, no moon, no effulgence of the thing. The Brahman effulgence is enough there. In the material world, that Brahma Jyotir, that is a Brahma Jyotir, Brahman effulgence. The Lord's spiritual, that's called as Lord's spiritual effulgence, discovered by Mahat Tattva. Now, what is Mahat Tattva? Mahat Tattva is the material covering. Now, when something is, if you have a 100 candle bulb, if you cover the bulb with a cloth, with a black cloth, especially a black cloth, absolutely opaque, just can't see. How can you see the light? How can you feel the light? You can't feel the light. The same way, what's happened is, in the material world, why are we not able to enjoy that effulgence of the Brahma Jyotir? Why do we need a sun? Why do we need a moon? In fact, even the sun and the moon, I always tell everyone, we have to worship because we do worship every day. But the God that we can see every day is the sun and the moon, the stars. You go out early in the morning, you pay obeisances to the sun, pay obeisances to the moon in the night, whenever the moon is there in the sky. That is God. He's there. And what is that effulgence that they're actually radiating? How are you able to see them? The brightness of the sun and the moon. It is nothing but the reflection of the Brahman effulgence. So we cannot directly see Brahman effulgence. We don't have those eyes to see the Brahman effulgence. Okay. So but God has made it possible for us to see the same thing to the sun and the moon and the stars, the bright stars in the sky. But then why are we not able to see the spiritual effulgence? The reason is discovered by Mahat Tattva. A word about Mahat Tattva and all the different layers, the five, the Panchamahabhuta coverings around the Brahmanda. I'll be discussing on probably the 15th day when we are doing Purushottama Yoga. We have a lot of time, 20 shlokas only that day. I'll start with Goloka Vrindavana description for you. You'll know what is Mahat Tattva, who created that and all that. Okay. So now for present, you know, it is a material element covering the spiritual effulgence. So you can't see it. Therefore, in this material world, we require assistance of sun, moon, electricity, etc. for light. Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat. This is the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. What is it compared to? Lord is compared to the sun, eternally luminous, always bright, and 24 hours brightness. At least here for us, sun is there for some time, and then you have to wait for the moon and all that, moonlight and all that. It's not lit all the while here, but there ever effulgence. But he is effulgent, but he is far, far beyond the darkness of this material world. And the Lord is himself very far from the material, which is full of ignorance, darkness. The darkness is not there in Goloka Vrindavana. Always, everything is shining there. His knowledge is transcendental. That's it. It's beyond our understanding. It's actually spiritual. Simple rate of spiritual. To one who is eager to be transferred to the spiritual world, those who are desirous of going to Goloka Vrindavana, knowledge is given by the Supreme Lord situated in everyone's heart. So if you want to know the road to Goloka Vrindavana, he is there ready to help you with all the directions. And this we have come across. Actually, I wanted to ask you this question, but I thought let me not test you too much. Now, anyway, with whatever is there on the screen, what do you get? I've put something on the screen now. Anyone can raise their hands. There's a shloka we studied in the earlier chapters, one of the chapters, where he says, those who want to see me, I give them the light of knowledge situated in their heart. Who can? Everything is explicit on the screen. You only have to make it clear for all the audience and to me also. Can anyone do it? Anyone? I'll give you a clue. 10th chapter. Which are those 4 important shlokas? What is it called? What are those 4 shlokas called? Can unmute and answer.
Chatushloki.
Exactly, Chatushloki. 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay,
Yeah.
those 4. In the 4th one, what Krishna says is, see, for this Aham Sarasa Prabhu, that is the first 8th one. Okay, and it's I am everything. I'm actually the light, I mean the cause of the spiritual and the material world, all that he says. In the 11th one, 11th shloka, he says, Tesham evanukam partham aham ajnanajam tamaha nashayamyatma bhavasto jnana deepena bhasvata. So those who want to know me, I show them the light sitting in their heart. I shine the light of knowledge and show them the way. So one must surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead if he at all wants liberation. Only by knowing him, one can surpass the boundary of birth and death. That is given in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Okay. We'll go to that slide. Sure, it will be more appealing. Yeah. The translation is, he is the source of light in all luminous objects. Okay. Whatever is luminous, whatever is shining today here, because of the effulgence of the Lord. Maybe the effulgence of the gold or silver or sun or moon or stars. It's nothing but Almighty. That's why we worship gold, worship silver, is it not? We don't worship charcoal, is it not? We worship only things which are luminescent. He is beyond the darkness of matter and is unmanifested. Okay. He can, unmanifested means what? He is hidden. He cannot be seen. Okay. He is knowledge. He is the object of knowledge. He himself is knowledge. Is all, that is one of the opulence of our Lord. All knowledge is our Lord, is it not? So when he's all knowledge and is the object of knowledge. There is so much to know about the Lord that there's however much you know, it is still not enough to know him completely. So it is the object of knowledge and he is the goal of knowledge. So whatever we are doing today, ultimately our destination is Almighty. He is situated in everyone's heart, that we know. Super soul is source of all knowledge and enlightenment. Okay? Super soul is the source of light in all luminous objects. Super soul is beyond the darkness of matter and unmanifested, that is hidden. He is knowledge, object of knowledge, and the goal of knowledge. And then he is situated in everyone's heart. 19th. Iti kshetram tatha jnanam Neyam choktam samasataha madbhakta etad vidnyaya madbhava yopapadyate. Thus the field of activities, body, that is a body, knowledge about what? Soul and super soul, the knowers of the body, that is knowledge, and the knowable. See, though we know the knowables are the super soul and soul. See, knowledge is also them and the knowables are also the soul and super soul, how they're interacting in the body, have been summarily described by me. Only my devotees can understand this thoroughly and thus attain to my nature. And we see 2 birds here. There's one bird, this is a big one, that is the super soul, okay? And then there's a smaller bird, Hadistya, a smaller bird here. Now that's the big bird here and a small bird here, okay? Now this is the super soul and that is the soul. Qualification to understand Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Jnana and Gneyam. Kshetra is body, Kshetrajna is the soul and super soul, Jnana is the knowledge and Gneyam is the object. Fully understood by devotees, Mad Bhakta. Only my devotees can understand, he says. What can they understand? What is Kshetra? That is the field of activities. Kshetrajna, that is the knower of the field, super soul and soul. And Jnana, the knowledge and the process of acquiring knowledge. What is the process? You have to acquire knowledge through a particular process. Through reading scriptures, through listening to higher authorities, having a spiritual master. There are the processes. Okay. Gneya is the object of the knowledge. Okay? So here what is knowledge? It is knowledge means understanding oneself in Krishna consciousness. So whatever you have to, in the light of Krishna consciousness, we must understand ourselves, what we are, what the super soul is, and all the activities and all that. And realizing Krishna in everything. Whatever you see, whatever you do, whatever X, Y, Z, A to Z, everything, you have to see Krishna in that. Realize Krishna, presence of Krishna there. Knowledge is nothing but preliminary stage of understanding devotional service perfectly. That is devotional service. Vijnana. What is Vijnana? Science of God. What is that? Knowable and process of knowing. Knowables are what? Soul and super soul. What do we still have to know about? See, as much as we know is still not enough. We have to know much more about them. There's so much to be known about them. It is unfathomable. It never gets ended at all. Okay. So knowable and process of knowing is called the science of knowledge or Vijnana. What is the conclusion of these verses? Explains the soul and the super soul, the knowables. Super soul is the ultimate object to be known. Verses 6 and 7, beginning from Mahabhutani. Now just recollect yesterday's chapter. Mahabhutani is actually the shloka where we talk about earth, water, fire, air, ether, and the Mahabhutani, and continuing through Chetana. Dhriti, analyze the material elements and certain, there are 24 elements, and certain manifestations of the symptoms of life. Okay? These combine to form the body or the field of activities. How is the body formed? By the manifestations of the symptoms of life. Our symptoms of life are consciousness. Okay, and our activities, all of the activities. So how do we say we are alive? When you're talking, we are doing so, we just sit quietly, you know. If you're still breathing, you know, it means we are still alive. They're all symptoms of life. So they all of them combined. It's a thorough combination which makes a body or the field of activities. 8 through 12, Amanitvam through Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam. Now these, what do they describe? Describe the process of knowledge. How to get that knowledge for understanding both the types of knowers. That is the individual soul and the super soul. Okay, namely the soul and the super soul. 13 to 18 verses, which were this quick recap of yesterday's important part, beginning from Anadimat Param and continuing through Rudi Sarvasya Vishtitam, describe the soul and the Supreme Lord or the super soul. Now the next part is E section we are coming to now. Verse 20 to 26, Krishna answers questions 1 and 2, Prakriti, Purusha, and their union. Now he is coming to the first and second questions now. Actually, they were in the beginning, but he has come to that now. So this is actually, he explains Prakriti, Purusha, and their union. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidyanadi Ubhavapi Vikaramsha Gunamshaiva Vidhi Prakriti Sambhavan. Material nature and living entities. See, we see nature here and all living at home, the living entities here, to be understood to be beginningless. They have no beginning. Yesterday, there was a question someone asked me, what do you mean by Brahman? Now, in simple words, which is not changing. See, Prakriti is Brahman, Jiva is Brahman, Lord is Brahman. They don't change. Prakriti doesn't change. You may say, I'll give you a very good example. See, Prakriti is the same. It's something like, the slate or the blackboard in the class. Okay, blackboard in the class, or a slate, or something which is a background, we write on that. Now, chemistry teacher comes and writes chemistry notes on the blackboard. Biology teacher comes, writes biology notes on the blackboard. See, she rubs and goes away. But the rubbing of biology lesson got rubbed, chemistry lesson got rubbed, physics lesson got rubbed. What remained is the slate, with the blackboard. That doesn't go away. The blackboard is there only. So Prakriti is there. Once upon a time, in the Jurassic region, Jurassic era, we had the dinosaurs. So many dinosaurs there. Do we have them today? We don't have them today. So with the entities keep on changing. Okay. Now, right now we are human beings here. What might happen later, we do not know. Okay. So the Prakriti has not changed. The slate has not changed. Animals came, they vanished. Okay. So that is the meaning of Brahman. Okay. Which does not change. The Jiva does not change. That is a living entity, does not change. Why? Because it's very eternal. See, how does it change? Now, for this very good example I told you yesterday, our body changes from childhood to boyhood or girlhood, and adolescence, youth, old age. See, so Jiva changed? Did the Atma change? It did not change. Body changed. That is also Brahman. Then Jiva, the third point was Lord, Supreme Lord. He's Brahman. He will never change. He's always the same. That is the meaning of Brahman. Okay. I was trying to explain yesterday, but I don't know if it was understood properly. But this is specifically the meaning of Brahman. Okay. Remember the blackboard and the lessons being done on the blackboard, or anything which is actually a background and something being done on the platform, the stage where dances happen. Is a beautiful auditorium. There's a stage there. One comes and does Kathak dance, other comes and does Bharatanatyam, one goes and sings there, one goes and, does a drama there, and they go away. They come and go. But the platform is there only. The stage is not gone. The stage is very much there. That is the meaning of Brahman. Okay. Now, material nature and the living entities should be understood to be beginningless. Their transformations and the modes of matter are products of material nature. Their transformations, they transform from one being to another. When there is transmigration of the soul, goes from one body to another, that one. And modes of matter are the three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, ignorance. Why are they created? Because they're the products of material nature. Okay. Field of activity, the body is composed of material nature, Prakriti. What is Prakriti defined? If you're asked, field of body. The body is composed of material nature. That is Prakriti. Okay, we are all in Prakriti. The embodied individual soul. Embodied individual souls. So we are all embodied souls. Okay, the living entity enjoying the activities of the body is a Purusha. So the ultimate Purusha is definitely Lord. He is the ultimate Lord. But because the living entity wants to lord over things, he has been given for some time the freedom to enjoy. So the living entity, individual soul, the finite enjoyer is actually the Purusha. And the material nature is the Prakriti. Both the soul, the super soul, and the individual entity, individual soul, are different manifestations of the supreme personality of Godhead. Okay, now what are the super soul? That is the basic stuff. That is from where the soul has come. From the internal superior potency of the Lord, we all have come. That is the relationship with the super soul. The living entity is in the category of his energy. So we are all his energies. We are part of his magnanimous energy, at least. Okay, that profound, which cannot be actually even imagined, an inconceivable energy. And the super soul is in the category of his personal expansion. In super soul, he is himself there. We are only part of his energy. That's all. Karya karana kartratve hetu prakritir uchyate purusha sukha dukkhanam bhoktratve heturuchyate. Nature is said to be the cause of all material activities and effects. Is it not? In nature, so many things happen. Okay. Now the cows are grazing, and there are actually birds chirping, and so many things. That rain is falling. Okay. The trees are growing. All things are happening in nature. Whereas the living entity is the cause of various sufferings and enjoyments in this world. We are the cause of we, in the sense, our individual souls are the cause for our sufferings. Why? Because we chose that. We wanted to lord over things. We wanted to become lords ourselves. So then what happened? It comes with a package. There's nothing like enjoyment at all. When you're lording over, it's all temporary. All is temporary. Buy a huge car, BMW, even the enjoyment is temporary. You have a huge bungalow. Initially, you have a nice graha pravesham, everything fine. When it comes to maintaining the house, you start suffering. So anything, whatever you get, it comes with a pinch of salt. Nature is said to be this is the same thing. We see here, the soul is constant. Now it can become, sometimes it can become, a hog. It can become a cat. It can become a person in ignorance here, like that. So it keeps on, the soul keeps on getting its body. Now the elaboration is here for the image which was given earlier. According to one's desire and activities, whatever you desired, God gave you. Bharata Maharaja his life was on the deer, the young baby deer. Actually, he was born as a deer. Whatever he wants, he will give you. Okay, be careful in asking God, because you will become what you want. Okay, what you ask for. So material nature places one in various residential quarters. So you are actually, what are residential quarters? Different animals, different entities, whatever it is. The being himself is the cause of his attaining such residential quarters and his attendant enjoyment of suffering. If I want to become a dog, I'll become a dog. So when I become a dog, all the suffering, enjoyment, I have to accept it. So I have accepted, I wanted the particular, you ask for a, a residential quarter at the, the 20th floor, you have to accept both the happiness and the sorrow there, you have to, beautiful site is very nice from there, but then if there is no lift at sometimes, no electricity, you have to climb all the steps, okay? There will be other problems, the water may not rise there, so many things will happen. So you desire something, you're given. You will not question why you want 20th floor and all that, he'll give you. But you have to suffer and enjoy whatever is there. You can't grumble. Once placed in some particular kind of body, he comes under the control of nature, because the body, being matter, acts according to the laws of nature. So when you get certain body, cat, dog, elephant, whatever, the laws of nature. See, you can't behave like a human being when you're in an elephant's body. Can you behave like that? You can't behave like a cat when you're in a dog's body. So that's the law of nature. You have to just go by that. At that time, the living entity has no power to change that law. If I ask for the body of a particular animal or whatever it is, or anything, what I want to be, then I can't change the law. I have to behave like that. There's no, I have to, behave like a dog only if I'm in the dog's body. Suppose an entity is put into a body of the dog. As soon as he's put in the body of a dog, he must act like a dog. He can't act otherwise. Hog body, demigod like a demigod. These are all laws of nature. But in all circumstances, the super soul is with the individual soul. Okay. Now, whatever may happen, you might be asking, maybe whatever you asked for may not be a very nice thing. Maybe the 20th floor is not a very nice thing after a lot of the problems there. But one thing, you are not alone there. God is always with you. Super soul is always with the individual soul. He's there to help him. He's not there to punish him. Okay. When the Mundaka Upanishad is given, Dvaha Suparna Sayuja Sakhyaha. The Supreme Lord is so kind, very kind Lord is upon the living entity, that he always accompanies the individual soul, and in all circumstances is present as the super soul or Paramatma. Wherever he goes, he will never abandon you. He's always going to take care. Purusha Prakristho hi bhungte Prakritijan gunan karanam guna sangosya sad asadyoni janmasu. Okay. The living entity in material nature just follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. Or whatever, if you're in a hog body, you enjoy the mode of ignorance. That is a mode of ignorance. That's the mode you're going to get. Okay. Now, in whatever this, every animal is characterized by its own mode of material nature. Okay. You're a very pious person, very good person, mode of goodness. If you're a businessman, mode of passion. Okay. It depends. So whatever you are, you just enjoy. You have to experience that. This is due to his association with that material nature. You have associated yourself. Okay. If I want to become in the next life, I say I want to become a big businessman. God will grant me. I'll become a business person. Very calculative, always, all the while. Though I'm so pious now, I'll become so calculative. Then what will happen is, of course, I'll never ask for such a body. But then I'll be in mode of passion always counting money. Not at all. We're heartless many times, Thus, he meets with good and evil amongst various species. So he'll come across good and evil. That is inevitable. This is, Bijavaki, the last 6 chapters. Now, how, different animals, forms we get into, and what actually how Prakriti and Purusha unite to form the different forms. That's in the 22nd shloka. Yeah. So, desire to enjoy forgets the bond between Purusha and Prakriti. He just forgets. He wants to enjoy. Living entity follows the way of life according to the 3 modes of material nature. Now, what are they? One is association with material nature leads different good and evil among various species. All can't be good, all can't be bad. So whatever is there, you have to accept. You have taken a package. It's a combo pack. You can't expect only good things there. Could be even bad things are there in it. Okay. So that's one thing. And secondly, this is actually for the last 6 chapters. The desire to enjoy forgets the bond. That's that. Living entity follows the way of life according to the 3 modes of material nature. But due to his desire to lord it over material nature, we wanted to lord. I want to become the monitor. I want to become the, some big, I want to have power. I want to lord over. He's put into a undesirable circumstances. Okay, you just can't help it. Whatever is it, you have to accept it. As per his desire is very much harped upon. Whatever you ask for, you get. So be very careful when you're asking for something from Almighty. Okay. As per his desire, the entity is born sometimes as a demigod, You can even become a demigod. No doubt at all. Sometimes a man, sometimes a beast, a bird, a worm, an aquatic living in water, a saintly man, or even a bug. Whatever you want, you can become. This is going on from times immemorial. In all cases, the living entity thinks is still lording over. He thinks he's a lord under the influence of material nature, all because of the influence of the three modes of material nature. They're contaminated. I always keep on telling you, we are born so pure, we get exposed to material nature, become contaminated by the three modes of material nature. He's put into such different bodies due to association with the different modes of nature. One has to rise. What should we do then? I told you many times, I tell you, your goodness is not too good, not at all good. You have to even rise above that to get liberation. One has to rise above the three modes of material nature and become transcendental in position. And all about this material nature, what they are, we'll be talking about in the next chapter, the 14th chapter. It's all about the modes of material nature. You'll be completely understanding that. So we have to transcend, become spiritual, high, go rise high. And what is Lord? Why is Lord not affected by this? He's transcendental. He's actually above all the modes of material nature. Unless one is situated in Krishna consciousness, very important, material consciousness will keep him, you keep on getting transferred from body to body. You have to keep on taking birth, you have to die, you have to take birth, you have to keep on having, but this is actually due to his long-standing material desires. You're having desires, you will never go to Goloka Vrindavana. You keep on, and if you are not in Krishna consciousness, you will always be in the material. So either you are in material consciousness or Krishna consciousness. I yesterday told you, if you are attached to Maya, you are detached from Krishna. If you are detached from Maya, you get attached to Krishna. So you decide what you want to do. Okay. Then if you want to get attached to Maya only, material nature, keep on getting birth every time. Okay. It keeps on happening. But again, suffering is there. See, birth is, it's so pleasant, Mataji, why not bad? What is good about it? 9 months in the mother's womb, we know how much the baby suffers, the baby knows. And I believe it keeps on praying there in the womb. God Almighty, please, as soon as I come out, I'll just be in your worship. I want liberation. But as soon as that was actually pure soul, the embryo is very, very pure inside the mother's womb. The moment it gets birth, it gets contaminated completely. Then it again never forgets what it asked for. It wants to keep on perpetually live and enjoy and suffer what is happening in the life. Hearing or Shravanam, from authoritative sources. Listen to very great souls like Srila Prabhupada and all about great saints is very essential. Now, Arjuna, what is Arjuna doing here? Hearing from Krishna about the science of God. 23. Very, very important shloka. Upadrashta Anumanta cha Bharta Bhokta Maheshwaraha Paramatmeti Chapi Yukto Tehesmin Purushah Paraha. Yet in this body, so the Lord is there actually, is there as well as he's a seer and actually he is the grantor. He actually gives sanctions. Okay. Now, living in the body as super soul, he's seeing, overseeing everything, what is happening. Upadrishta, he's seeing. Anumanta, he sanctions whatever you want. Yet in this body, there is another, a transcendental enjoyer who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor who exists as overseer and the permitter. Overseer is Upadrishta, he's seeing. Anumanta is permitter. He sanctions whatever you want, yes. Yes, right, green signal. And who is known as a super soul. The individual soul enjoys activities of a particular body. All of us, I have my soul, you have your soul, you're enjoying whatever is happening with it, enjoying and suffering, what is happening to your body. But the super soul is present as the witness, the overseer, Upadrishta, permitter, Anumanta, and the supreme enjoyer. So he is actually the one, we are not really, we are all finite enjoyers. He is the infinite enjoyer. He is Paramatma, not Atma, Para. Para means transcendental. He is actually spiritual. So Atma and Paramatma are different. The super soul Paramatma has legs and hands everywhere. We said it yesterday, has got legs and hands everywhere. See, whatever bhog we offer here in our house, he is able to receive it. He's in the Goloka Vrindavana. He has to extend his hand from there to here to receive it. He does it. He does it. Okay. But can we do it? We cannot. We can't even reach across the table. Our hands are so limited. You individuals can't do this. So with sanction, the Paramatma And in the individual soul cannot do this. The Paramatma, the Supreme Lord, residing within sanctions, residing within our heart, within the heart. There's a super soul. He sanctions, permits all the individual soul's desires for material enjoyment. Whatever you want, he'll say. I want such a something, I want a promotion. I want to become a CEO. Granted. But then along with it, there are so many things. Your responsibilities are there. There are so many things you have to distance, you have to take. They have to accept whatever is there, you have to the package, you have to take it. Without the Lord's sanction, the individual soul can do nothing. Individual is Bhukta. We are all Bhuktas, okay? And he's a Bhukta. He's a maintainer. We are the sustained. He's sustaining us and he's a maintainer. Bhukta and Bhukta. Lord is staying within the innumerable living entities as their friend. We saw two birds there. They're sitting like friends on a particular branch of tree, He's helping us. Why do we call him a friend? He's always prepared, ready to help us. Whatever trouble, how does he help us? Tell me, someone told me yesterday very nicely. We are in miseries, ocean of miseries. He swoons down on his Garuda vehicle and picks up from the ocean of miseries. Yet the living entity has a tendency to reject the sanction of the Supreme Lord and not independently and act independently in an attempt to dominate it. See, with all this, with such a kind friend in our heart, we still want to lord over things because of ignorance, Maya. We are actually completely under Mahamaya. We still want to dominate. Due to this, what propensity? Propensity of lording over, of becoming masters. We are said to be in the marginal energy of the Lord. There are three energies of the Lord. For your information, there is the internal energy, internal superior energy, okay? Then we have the Antashakti, then we have the external inferior energy, that is the Bahiranga Shakti, and the marginal energy, that is the Tatastha Shakti. They're all in the margin, they're just in the margin. And like this margin is so very, very interesting now. See, if you the choice is yours, okay? If you want to be attached to Maya, be attached to material nature, you'll be in the inferior energy. You'll fall down with the three modes of material nature attacking you. Supposing you don't want to attach to material nature, you want to become spiritual, you want to be in Krishna, go join ISKCON, join Krishna consciousness, become a very high elevated devotee. What happens? One jump inside, you come to the Lord's internal spiritual energy. The choice is yours. So we have got an option. Okay, we can either jump outside, one step outside and become absolutely conditioned souls, or we can jump one step inside and become highly transcendental or spiritual souls. The living entity can be situated either, see, there's a choice. Early morning, you have to get up at 4 o'clock. Okay, of course, with there are exemptions. Health is there, age is there, with all that, you want to, there's a choice for you. You want to get up. If you get up from the bed, you'll get up. Fine, you become spiritual. No, a little more time. Once you sleep in the morning, you'll never get up early. You'll get up very late. So you're into the outer energy. So all at 6 o'clock, there is a discourse on Bhagavad Gita. There is a 6 o'clock, there's actually a movie also on the TV. Okay, it's your choice. No one is going to prevent you. You can either put on the TV for the movie, or you can switch on the YouTube for the discourse. Okay, choice is yours. Okay, as long as he's conditioned by the material nature, the Supreme Lord as his friend, the super soul stays with him just to get him to return to the spiritual energy. So as long as you're in darkness, in ignorance, God is always with you as super soul. Why? To take you back home to Godhead. Okay, he's not going to leave you. That is his responsibility. The Lord is always eager to take him back to the spiritual energy. He wants to come, jump one step inside and come to my energy. But due to his minute independence of the individual entity, is continually rejecting the association of the spiritual light. We are still having that lording over as a propensity. We're still wanting to get out, eat ice cream, eat bhel puri, and spoil our health, and you want to suffer. You don't want to have very sattvic food and become healthy. Okay, the independence given to us. The misuse of independence is a cause of this material strife in the conditioned nature. We are suffering because of the independence given to us. The Lord, therefore, is always giving instructions from within and from without. He's always actually helping us. Yeah. He's constantly instructing outside through Bhagavad Gita discourses, Bhagavatam discourses, or so many discourses, YouTube, so many outside. Within, how? A super soul. So we are everywhere we are exposed to goodness, spiritual ambience, environment. From without, he gives instructions as stated in Bhagavad Gita. If you read Bhagavad Gita, you'll get all the instructions. And from within, as the super soul, he convinced the living entity that his activities in the material field are not conducive to happiness, real happiness. See, I think many of you would have experienced by this point of time that sometimes, some inner voice, we call it, it is guiding you. You want to do something, it says, no, don't do it, or do it. Okay. Now that is actually, for that, it's a very feeble voice. It's not loud on a loudspeaker. It's very feeble. You have to be very quiet to understand hear that particular voice. But he is guiding you. He's actually helping you. But you should be, alert enough to listen to that voice. Just give it up and turn your faith toward me. He's saying that. Then you will be happy. He says that. But what do? We want to lord over nature. Again, we say, no. This is more interesting, more pleasant, more enjoyable. Movie was more interesting. Is more, after seeing it, it's useless. But then before that, movie is so attractive, so colorful. What is this after all, dull? He says that. But God says, give it up, come to me. This intelligent person who places his faith in the Paramatma, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, begins to advance toward a blissful, eternal life of knowledge. But if you're intelligent, wise, okay, a devotee, you listen to the inner voice and you will definitely get liberated. Ya evam veti purusham pragritim cha gunai saha sarvata vartamanopi nasabhuya vijayate. One who understands this philosophy concerning material nature, that is Prakriti, living entity, that is the soul, okay, and the interaction of the modes of nature, three modes of material nature, is sure to attain liberation. So if you understand this, okay, now supposing I want to get angry, okay, now before getting angry, if I'm intelligent, I should think, this is not good for me, I should not do this, anger is not good for me. I'll go into a mode of passion. I'll contain myself. That's a wise thought. So we have to control our being dragged into the material modes. You have to always do that. Okay, I want to sleep, and I should not sleep. No, this is not the time to sleep. I should get up now. It's time to study or do something good. And that is actually intelligence. Okay, if you want to sleep whenever you want to eat whenever you want to do whatever you want, whenever you want, that is very bad. You are not actually winning over material nature. That is in simple how to win over material nature. He will not take birth here again, regardless of his this is blocking. Yeah. Fine. Of his present position. Then now the 24th shloka. You see here, result of knowing the philosophy of liberation. What is it? What is the result? What is the use of knowing liberation? One who understands philosophy concerning, what is that? Material nature, living entity, interaction of the modes of nature, the modes of nature. He is actually, he is one who understands philosophy. Okay, he's knowledgeable. Let me see. Knowledge of truly understanding the relationship between the soul and super soul. That is knowledge. Result, liberation and return to spiritual world. You should know who am I? Who is the super soul? Don't think we are equal. We are distinct. We are same, but we are different. I am the servitor. He is the proprietor. Okay. What is the purpose of knowledge? To understand how the living entity has fallen into this material world in a precarious condition due to the three modes of material nature, entanglement in the material existence. How to understand our position? That is the secret. 25th shloka. Dhyane natmani pashyanti kechid atmanam atmana anye sankhena yogena karma yogena chapare. Some people dhyane natmani, that is through meditation they can achieve that. And some actually through Sankhya Yoga, through learning, and from to Karma Yoga, Karma Yogena Chapare. So we see here some of them. The super soul is perceived by some through meditation. Some meditate and realize Lord. By some through cultivation of knowledge. They read a lot, acquire a lot of knowledge. They understand him that way. and by others through working without fruitive desires. Nishkama karma. You have to do nishkama karma, not sakama karma, then you are able to realize Almighty. Okay? Yeah. Understanding through various types of yogas. How do you understand God? Through different yogas. God explains two classes of conditioned souls. Who are they? Faithful in spiritual life. They are very faithful in spiritual life. Okay. Then we have, they do to dhyana and meditation. Okay. And secondly, through Sankhya Yoga, that is knowledge, acquiring knowledge. And third, through Karma Yoga, Ishkama Karma Yoga. Okay. Then there are other types of conditioned souls who are atheists. Okay. They are agnostics. Again, means atheists only. They don't believe in God. Okay. Skeptics. They're very, actually, everything they see with the doubt, that you can't easily convince them. Are beyond the sense of spiritual understanding. You can't make them understand at all. Okay. It also includes those who establish the doctrine of monism. Devotees of the Lord, monism, why they stressed here, because it said that in Advaita, they don't believe in Atma and Paramatma separate. They say Atma alone. That's the reason why little bit of controversy is there. Devotees of the Lord are best situated in spiritual understanding. Okay, because devotion is very important. Devotional, we have to be situated in devotion, because they know that beyond the material nature, our spiritual world and supreme personality of Godhead who expands as Paramatma. In devotion, what is this is material nature, what is spiritual world, what is God, and what actually his expansions are. Anye tvevam ajanantah Shrutvanebhya upasate tepi chaiti taranteva mrityum shruti parayanaha. Here we see, now this image is of, Devahuti. This is Devahuti and Kapila Muni. Devahuti is the mother of Kapila Muni. Okay. Now, here she gets knowledge from the Kapila Muni is nothing but Lord incarnate. So from him she gets the knowledge. Again, there are those, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, she's absolutely just a housewife. She wanted knowledge, and the son gives her gives her the knowledge. Begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they are beyond the path of birth and death. So they can still, the shloka is, I think we have read the shloka, it's been done. Yeah. A common man, you can almost compare her to a common man. She's a common woman, very pious woman. Okay. Now, she's exposed to actually the hardships of life, when her husband passes away, and then Kapila Muni is actually there to take care of her. That Kardama is her husband. Kapila Muni is the as soon as Kapila Muni is born, Kardama goes on actually sannyasi, takes sannyasa. She's alone with the son, so he only has to give all the knowledge. A common man, if he's a good soul, he can advance by hearing. Background sound, please take care of the background sound. Please request. Kindly mute yourselves. Kindly mute yourselves when when the microphone is on. It's my request. Yeah. A common man, if he's a good soul, she's a very good soul. He can advance by hearing. What is she doing now? Listening to? That is Shravanam. She's actually listening to her son. Hearing process. Shravanam is very important. Lord Chaitanya preached Krishna consciousness in the modern world. He gave great stress to hearing, Shravanam. What did he ask us to hear and actually chant and hear? The Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So he emphasized on hearing a transcendental vibration. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. On hearing from realized souls, gradually, from realized souls. See, we put the Kirtan in the beginning. Why? Because Srila Prabhupada is a realized soul. If you hear from him, we get such much of peace. Gradually, worship of the Supreme Lord follows. So hear from great souls, we will start automatically following their footpath, and we become their path, and we become devotees of the Lord. Although the common man is often not as capable as so-called philosophers, obviously. See, the common man, how can he be equal to philosopher? He would be a philosopher only in that case. He would not be a common man at all. So that's why we have to listen from the authoritative sources. Faithful hearing. Faithful hearing is very important. Faithful hearing from authoritative sources will help one transcend this material existence and go back home to Godhead. In a classroom where attendance is compulsory, I can't say it will be faithful listening to the lessons. Many people come for the sake of attendance only, not for the knowledge that is given there by the teacher. But in such a class like this, nothing is compulsory. Attendance is not compulsory. We don't need. Of course, we do monitor. We don't insist on that. So, but still, you are there. You are not able to see me. I'm not able to see you. But you are there on the other side. I'm on this side. Okay. And this is actually, if you are very intently hearing to what I'm saying, I'm not saying it's Lord speaking through me. I never speak. Always when it is knowledge, it's always Lord who speaks through me. The listening, that is actually faithful hearing. Okay. Now from 27 to 35, last part of our the chapter today, Jnana Chakshusha, the vision of knowledge. And we can see the one who can see super soul really sees. You should be able to see the Jnani, when a wise person can see the super soul within the body. See, actually, it's hidden. He's unmanifested, but you should be able to see him. See, what should you always do? Worship the Lord inside. Of course, you have to worship. You can worship a photo or a deity. All that is fine, but focus, introspect, and focus on the Paramatma inside your heart. Okay, living and material nature in their proper perspective. Actually, he through. Once again, yeah, he sees. That's what actually it's mentioned here. He actually sees whatever is created. Yeah, this is the next 27th shloka. Yavat sanjayate kinchit sattvam sthavara jangamam kshetra kshetrajna samyogat tadvidhi paratarshabha. O chief of Bharatas, know that whatever is in existence, both moving and non-moving, is only a combination of the field of activities and the knower of the field. Very interesting. Moving and non-moving. We have nature, we have got trees, we have got mountains, we have got hills, we have got so much in nature. Now, all this without the intervention of the knower of the field, that is the soul, it can't exist. So we are, see, if there's a farm, unless the farmer tills the land and sows the seed and makes use of it, it's of no use. So though the farm is there, the seeds are there, water is there, but the farmer is required, the living entity is required to sow the seeds and water the plants and manure them, and you get a harvest. Whatever is created is but a combination of the living entity and the material nature. Okay, both are required. Alone, nothing can happen. Okay, if you just the board is there, the teacher is there. I mean, the teacher is not there. All the students are there. How can the lessons happen? She has to come. She's instrumental. The touch of the superior nature, the living entity, that thing can grow. So what is touch of superior nature? Living entities. All of us are living entities. And unless we touch the nature, the thing can happen. There are many manifestations like trees, mountains, hills, which are not moving. And there are many existences which are moving. Okay. And all of them are but combinations of material and the superior nature, the living entity. Actually, in combination, or you can use the word interaction, because interactions only. So we see in biology, interaction between the living and the non-living. There's a chapter actually in the biology books. So unless the two interact, in the environment, there cannot be life. Okay, the interaction between material nature and spiritual nature is eternally going on. It's always happening. Okay, affected by the Supreme Lord. Who is the mediator? Who is the proprietor? Who is the moderator? Lord. Lord is doing it. The controller of both the superior and inferior natures. He is controlling us and is also controlling the nature. Now, nature is his external inferior energy, and we are his internal superior energy. So both of them are controlled by the Lord. The material nature is created by him. From where? From his outer inferior energy. And the superior nature is placed in this material nature, and thus all activities and manifestations take place. Orchard requires a person to take care of the trees. They'll give you wonderful fruits. And a gardener is required to tend the garden to get wonderful flowers. So the living entity interaction is very important. So here we see, let's see, this is a meditation. These are, they're able to see the moving and the non-moving. Yeah, moving, non-moving, whatever you see in existence, all that is there. Only a combination of the field of activities and the knower of the field of activities. 20. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyasva avinashyantam Yah pashyati sa pashyati. One who sees the super soul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies. What should we see? We should not see. When you see a person right in front of you, don't recognize him only by the name or your relation or him as a body or that is an animal. Could be an animal. You have to identify that whatever is right in front of you as having the super soul and the soul. Okay, that means you are a jnani. You are actually a knowledgeable person. And who understands that neither the soul nor the super soul is ever destroyed. See, the body may die after death, the body will be no longer existing, but the soul continues, super soul continues. He actually sees. He is a real seer. He is a real jnani. Seer means jnani. Okay, you see here now here. This is Lord. In every living entity, the Lord is there. Now see, what do we see? There are so many. There's a saint here, the lion here, dog here, dogs here, peacock, and many human beings are there, horses, and then there you have got the tiger here. So many animals. In all of them, we can see this. There's a picture of the image of the super soul. The tree also has it. Everywhere, super soul is there. You have to see that super soul in all. Then actually you are a jnani. Don't go by it. Then in that case, what happens? You will never differentiate between the rich and the poor, or the disabled and the proper people. The healthy people. You never recognize. You don't differentiate that way at all. Black and white, all that doesn't come into existence. You don't just go beyond that. You look at the super soul inside. It's so beautiful. It can't change. It will be the same everywhere, constant. Then you will really, that is a jnani. One who sees the indestructible super soul always accompanying the indestructible individual soul. Both are indestructible. Both are actually eternal. They are Brahman. Both are Brahman. And in all bodies is the actual seer. Jnani. Seer means jnani. How such vision is possible? By good association with good devotees, with real knower of spiritual subjects, not with the ordinary mundane people. Go to saints, go to a spiritual master, go to real true devotees. Will definitely, that's why in every way say the Ram Ram or Hare Krishna. In ISKCON we always say Hare Krishna, or in Vrindavan say Radhe Radhe. They never say go by and call names and all that. You should be with very elevated souls. Who is the man in real knowledge? Okay, one who can see three things in its proper perspective. What are the three things? One is the body. Body is there. Its proprietor, the soul, and the super soul, the friend of the soul. Those who are ignorant think that when the body is destroyed, everything is finished. There are people who say that. They have told me, where is God? Once the body, I told them Punarjanma and all that, next life, let's be like this only, let's this relationship continue. That what? After death is gone. Where are you? What is? Have you seen it? They ask me. Do you see it? Have you seen it? So you have to believe in many things. You can't see everything. See, no one can see air, but the once air is evacuated from our atmosphere, we all will suffocate to death. Okay, we can't see everything. And you have to believe in the scriptures, which have been laid down by our great sages. You have to believe in it. You have to then, but many people think body is gone, everything's over. But actually, after the destruction of the body, both the soul and the super soul exist. In the subtle body, they go up actually. Okay. Now, actually, when after death, this is the body, and the subtle body has the same figure as the main body. It gets elevated from the main body, and with the soul, super soul, and actually intelligence, mind, it actually rises. So that's how it is. Okay? Both the super soul and the individual soul continue. They are not destroyed. One who can see in this way can actually see what is happening. He's a jnani. Samam Pashyani, I think this we did it. Oh, some of that's different shloka. Yeah. Samam Pashyan hi sarvatra samavasthitam ishwaram na hinastyatmanatmanam tato yati param gatim. One who sees the super soul equally present in every living being. So here we see here, this is a elephant. This is a chandala. This is a dog. It's a saint. And this is a yogi, a knowledgeable person. In all of them, he says, there's a cow here. Okay. In all of them, the equanimity of mind, he sees all of them equal. He doesn't say he doesn't deride this person, he's a Chandala, or a dog that it is a very, low animal, or the cow because elated animal, or a saint here. A saint looks a lot. This is a saint actually, saint. He's looking at all of these animals, including the meditator here, person meditation. In all of them, he says the same super soul. He doesn't differentiate between them. For him, this saint, the cow, the elephant, and the mahut, and then this Chandala and dog are exactly the same. This is the meaning of this particular shloka. And who is the actual seer does not degrade himself by pursuing selfish desires of the mind. What is the current situation of the living entity? What is our present situation? One has situated himself differently than the spiritual world. See, because we don't have spirituality, we distinguish like this. I've seen in a particular, this really happened, in a particular marriage, party. There was a marriage lunch actually. Unfortunately, the huge, it was a palace ground actually, not an ordinary place. That means there should be very, very well off people, obviously. But that's not enough. You should be rich in heart. When the driver, the chauffeur also came, there was a place there to have lunch. The chauffeur also came and sat there. Okay. What was his mistake? Nothing wrong. He helps you in transporting you from place to place in marriage. There are so many events happening. When the owner only, not no other person, he came there, saw the chauffeur, he pulled him out from the street and said, "This is not the place for you to eat later." I felt so bad. I was a mute spectator, unfortunately. To this day, I can't forget. It happened years ago. I feel so bad even to this day. It so happened that I could not enjoy a morsel of the food. I felt so bad. Couldn't get up because he was taking care of us. He was asking us, inquiries were being made, kind inquiries. I wanted to get up and say, we wanted to get up and come away from the lunch actually. It felt so bad. See, he would be hungry because, he's been doing so much of going about. But then that's very bad because he has a lot of money. He's ignorant. He's not a jnani. You should not see. See, the heart of the chauffeur also has the same super soul. He also the same super soul. What's the difference? So what the current situation is, the reason is we are all actually different from we are not spiritually placed. That's the unfortunate reason. What is the role of the mind? What should the mind do? Mind is generally addicted to sense gratification, which binds a living entity in the material world. Mind actually, they're all addicted to senses. And the mind turns to super soul. So maybe, that was not the right place for him. Then not the right way to pull him out from there. Let him be, it doesn't matter. Later, you can call and tell him, "I wish you had not there." That's not the proper way. He's behaved like a rustic, actually. This is very bad. Okay? So then one transcends to his destination. And here we see this. He is the actual seer. He is the actual jnani. And prakritaiva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvashah yapashyati tathatmanam akartam sapashyati. Manu sees all activities are performed by the body, which is created of material nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees. So we have a body. Now, when the body is performing all the things, we are the souls inside. We're only we are not performing it. It's the body which is in action. So that differentiates that the body and the soul are different. The body is aging. The soul is not aging. So that actually gives us evidence that the soul and the body are different. The body is made by material nature under the direction of the super soul. Who made this body? The soul was there. It wanted to, and as you all know, the soul comes through the father to the mother, and then it gets manifested in the child. Okay, it has no body immediately, but in the mother's womb, it gets a body. Who gives the body? Not the mother. Mother is only the shelter place for the growing embryo. Lord gives the body. But the activities of the body are not his doing. He's not doing any activity. The embryo is growing. He's not making it grow. He's there. That's all, He has given the whole body, but it is all done by the body. It's the nature of the body to grow like that. Whatever one is supposed to do, either for happiness or for distress, one is forced to do because of the bodily constitution. Again, the same thing. In a dog, whatever, and depending on what animal you are, an elephant or a giraffe, they have to, happiness or distress, they have to definitely undergo. There's no option. The self, however, is outside all these bodily activities. The soul and body are different. This body is given according to one's past desires. We know that. Practically speaking, the body is a machine. It's a machine designed by the Lord, Supreme Lord. The moment the soul is out, the body collapses. There's nothing to fulfill the desires. It's given by the Lord. Because of desires, one is put into difficult circumstances to suffer or to enjoy. Okay. Now, whatever you desire, I repeatedly told you, you have to, whatever comes as a package, you have to enjoy, you have to suffer. This transcendental vision of the living entity, when developed, makes one separate from the bodily activities. So you have to have the spiritual vision, then you will definitely get separated from the body activities. One who has such a vision is the actual seer or the actually jnani. Yada bhuta pratak bhavam ekastam anupashyati tata evacha vistaram brahma sampadyate tada. When one sees that the various bodies of living entities arise due to different desires of the soul and do not actually belong to the soul itself, he is the actual seer. So, who differentiates between the body and the soul is the jnani. In the material conception of life, we find someone, maybe a demigod or human being, all that is there. It's because of that only. So the differentiation is due to the material conception of life. Okay? Now, after the destruction of the material body, the soul is actually one, and the soul continues, and it gets again different types of bodies. Once my soul leaves this body, it will get another type of body. Okay? It could be anything depending on my karmas. I might even get an animal body. I cannot say. So whatever is given, I have to live my karma in that particular body. When one can see this, he attains spiritual, that's a spiritual vision, thus being freed from differentiations like man, animal, pig, low, high, everything, all that goes away, and becomes purified in his consciousness and is able to develop Krishna consciousness in his spiritual identity. That's actually our purpose. We're coming to the end of the chapter. Now, when a sensible man ceases to see different identities, here we see so many animals. If he doesn't see them as these animals, and sees the Lord in them, the shining part, is actually the seer. When one can see that the various bodies of living entities arise due to the different desires of individual soul and do not actually belong to the soul itself, he is the jnani. Take away of this particular actually lesson, the shloka. Who is the actual seer? Vision of actual seer. All activities are performed by the body created by the material nature. That is one thing. The self does nothing. Soul is different from the body. When does he attain Brahman conception? Okay, in his Brahman conception. Brahman means unchanging. Okay, purified consciousness can thus develop Krishna consciousness. Okay, that is Brahman. Ceases to see different identities due to the different material bodies. Doesn't see them as different. They're all super souls for him. This absence of any material differentiation because of different bodies, there is no, obviously they'll be all alike, like all the animals are, he places them at the same level. He sees how beings are expanded everywhere. So everywhere, a super soul expands and is seen in everything. 32nd shloka. Anaditvam nirgunatvat paramatmayam avyayah sharirosta api kaunteya nakaroti na nipyate. Those with the vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental. Those vision of eternity, you should believe. If a person doesn't believe in God at all, where is Punarjanma? What? No past life, no further life. And what? See, why is a born? They don't understand so much. Why is one child born in a rich family? Why is one child at the same time, very same moment, other child in a slum area? Why is one born very healthy? Why is other born very sickly? That only shows that there's something like past karma, and we are actually reaping the fruits of the past karma. He doesn't extend his imagine. It's a very material in his approach, so he can't understand all this. Despite contact with the material body, O Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled. It's absolutely free. So a living entity appears to be born. Okay, appears to be born. Well, does a living entity have any birth? No, it's eternal. When a baby is born, we say the baby is born, but the soul was already there in it. It's been coming down from bodies to bodies. But we say the baby is born. The baby is born, the body is born, not the soul, because of the birth of the material body. But actually the living entity is eternal. He is not born, unborn, aja. And in spite of his being situated in a material body, he is transcendental, he is spiritual and eternal. Thus he cannot be destroyed by nature. He is full of bliss. The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, is it not? Now, for instance, air, air can pass over, when air passes over very fragrant flower, it gives a fragrance. On some filth, get a bad smell. But does the air mix with it? It never mixes with it. It's uncontaminated. The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all-pervading. Similarly, the soul, situated in Brahman vision, okay, does not mix with anything with the body. Again, the same example I want to give you. See the platform and the different activities happening on the platform. They don't mix up, See, over after the particular dance is over, the stage is free for the other to occupy. Even the blackboard in the classroom. See, the blackboard doesn't mix with the lesson, chemistry lesson or the biology lesson. It's free. It's not. Once the lesson is over, it can be wiped and it is again free for reuse. The same way, the soul never mixes with anything. Okay, though it is actually situated in all the animals, persons. The air enters into water, mud, stool, and whatever else is there. Still, it does not mix with anything. Similarly, the living entity, even though situated in varieties of bodies, is aloof from them due to his subtle nature. Okay, it never mixes. Therefore, it is impossible to see the material eyes how the living entity is in contact with this body. You can't make out. It's actually the body, the soul gives consciousness because of which the body moves. But you can't really, identify. They are unconnected. The body and the soul are unconnected. The only connection relation is that the consciousness ordained by the soul makes the body move. Okay, so therefore it's impossible to see the materialize how the living entity is in contact with this body and how it is out of it after the destruction of the body. How the soul comes out, where does it go? All those things are a little beyond difficult to understand. No one in science can ascertain this. Science definitely can't explain this. Yatha प्रकाशयत्येकः कृत्स्नं लोकम् इमं रविः क्षेत्रं क्षेत्री तथा कृत्स्नं prakashyati bharata, O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity, one within the body, illuminate the entire body by consciousness. Look, how interesting. See, heart is within our body, in the center part of the body, in the chest region. Okay, it's about the size of a fist. We all know that. Inside the heart is lodged our super soul. About, they say, about the size of this thumb. And that's what they say. Okay, along with the soul. But the existence of this alone is making us do all the activity. It's not seen. It's unmanifested inside the body. But being inside the body, it is making the body work. It's making it to actually function. The moment it is not there, the body stops functioning. It collapses. Okay. The same way, the sun is in one place, illuminates the entire universe. All activities happen the same way. Lord is there. So, last shloka. One who knowingly sees this difference between the body and the owner of the body and can understand the process of liberation from this bondage also attains to the supreme goal. So, one who actually understands, you should know that I'm not the body, I'm like the soul, and even in the others, they are not the bodies, they are the souls, and you are whatever. So respect the soul, and the soul, of course, is individual soul. Let us say it belongs to them personally, but then the super soul, that's the expansion of the Lord, Paramatma, is there in all the bodies. Now, what right do you have to insult or dishonor or deride or look down upon a Paramatma in the other souls? The same Paramatma within you is within them also. You have to respect that Paramatma. So at least for that sake, we should never, we should treat all equally. Okay, that is knowledge. That's what actually is said here. So with that, we come to the end of my little reflections. As the sun is situated in one place, illuminates the entire universe. And that's how this soul, the consciousness actually illuminates the body. So consciousness is the proof of soul. Okay, how do you say the soul is there? Where is the soul? You can't see the soul. It's unmanifested. That a person is moving, a person is breathing. There's some life symptoms. The evidence that the soul is there. When it is there, there is consciousness all over the body. Every part of the body will be showing our activities. Okay, so it's a symptom of the living entity. So it is qualitatively one is the supreme. Okay, it's but quantitatively definitely different. His Vibhu, we are Anu. Okay, because of the consciousness of we share that with the other bodies. Super soul is in all the bodies as a friend, and the difference between supreme consciousness, that is the difference between the supreme consciousness and the individual consciousness. Supreme consciousness is the presence of the super soul. He gives consciousness in all the living entities all over the universe. But we have my soul gives consciousness to my body, your to yours. That's actually the difference between the two consciousnesses. Okay. Now, I think this we have done. Yeah. This last slide. We saw it earlier too. Yeah. The takeaway of this chapter. The difference between the body and the knower of the body. The process of liberation from bondage in material nature. You get liberated from your material existence. The result is one attains supreme goal. That's ultimate aim of all of us. You actually join Krishna. You actually attain Krishna. This chapter, just a quick takeaway of the whole chapter. This chapter, 13th chapter, elaborates on the distinction between the body and the soul. One of the body recognizes the process of liberation. 8 to 12 verses can reach the supreme destination. If you follow those processes, we can reach the supreme destination. One should be in good association to hear of God, be with the devotees, be with sages, be with saints, okay? With Uttama Adhikaris. Accept a spiritual master, have a master in your life to learn, distinguish between matter and spirit. They will tell you better what is matter, what is spirit, what is body, what is soul, and thereby attain spiritual realization. One can understand that this body is matter, it is gross, it's absolutely gross. Soul is subtle, okay? And it's made up of the 24 elements. That's what actually is mentioned here. The subtle manifestation is the mind and the psychological effects. You had that, no? All mind, intelligence, all the subtle. You can't see them. They are not to be seen. False ego. Sometimes some symptoms of life are the interaction of these features. Whatever we express, whatever activities we show, are their interactions of all the this permutation and combination of the interactions. For instance, you hear and you talk. Is it not? So interaction. When you are talking, especially very interesting. When you are actually breathing, you are always breathing. You never stop breathing. You're eating at the same time. It's interaction again. How is it that your windpipe is also open at the same time and your food channel also is open at the same time? They coordinate in such a beautiful manner that food never enters into your windpipe. Okay, so that's how so many activities happen at the same time. At the same time, things happen. Many things are happening. Your heart is beating inside. That happens simultaneously. Nothing stops for the other to complete. So that's the interaction. Now, but above all is the soul and super soul. The soul actually of two types, knower and the super knower. Now this is we have done it actually. It's in the which shlokas deal with what, that has been done in the beginning yesterday. So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So with that we end our chapter, the 13th chapter, beautiful chapter. Now I'll say my short prayer and then the whole session is open for discussion and questions. Okay. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bhakta Vrind ki jai, Hare Krishna. I'll stop sharing, stop recording, and you can ask me the questions.